fostering sustainable development of the Mekong Delta. Future prospect of the development of eco-industrial parks in Vietnam. Hello and welcome to this edition of BIZLINE brought to you by VTV International. I'm your host, Lina Pham. And as usual, we'll begin our program by reviewing the economic highlights over the past week. A conference was held in Ho Chi Minh City on June the 18th to review the 2 years since the implementation of Resolution number 120 on climate resilient and sustainable development of the Mekong Delta. The event discussed water resource management, saline intrusion, landslides, agricultural restructuring and adaptation to climate change, solutions to the transport system, housing for sustainable development, regional planning, coordination mechanisms and investment attraction. Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc stressed the need to raise people's awareness of the impact of climate change on economic development while attracting more ODA. He added the government is committed to investing $2 billion into developing the Mekong Delta. The Prime Minister also required the Ministry of Science and Technology to invest in developing science and technology in the Mekong Delta region. Private enterprises need to be given more opportunities and they also need to join anti-corruption campaigns, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc said at a meeting with Vietnam Private Business Association on Monday. The Prime Minister asked private enterprises to be transparent, fulfill their social responsibilities, prioritize green and sustainable development, comply with laws and international commitments, and increase strength to enter the high-value segments of the global supply chains. The government leader emphasized that private Vietnamese enterprises must say no to corruption. At the meeting, enterprises greatly appreciated the Prime Minister's directions on building a constructive government that serves the people as well as businesses, and promised to contribute up to 80% of the GDP if they are given favorable conditions. Addressing the meeting of the National Steering Committee on Official Development Assistance, or ODA, and preferential loans on Monday, Deputy Prime Minister Phạm Bình Minh noted that from 2017 to 2018, the disbursement of ODA and preferential loans was quite low compared to the previous year. At 53.6% in 2018, it was also quite low compared to other regional countries. To improve this figure, the Deputy Prime Minister requested relevant authorities and agencies to simplify procedures for receiving the funds, to create transparent procedures, and to shorten the disbursement time. He also asked the Ministry of Planning and Investment to amend resolutions number 132 and number 16 to meet the amended law on public investments passed by the National Assembly. In the future, the government will be working with sponsors to create a framework for the development for the 2021-2025 period. On Tuesday, Minister of Industry and Trade Trần Tuấn Anh met with representatives of several European business associations in Brussels. The minister thanked European businesses for their active participation in supporting and collaborating with Vietnam to mobilize the ambassadors of the European Union countries in Brussels to support Vietnam's promotion of the EVFTA. Representatives of associations signed the letter to the President of the Council of Europe and the European Commission for High Trade, presenting the views and interests of European businesses once the agreement takes effect. The free trade agreement between Vietnam and the European Union is being considered for approval by the European Council. Forecast to increase up to $180 billion in 2020, the Vietnamese retail market is set to be one of the 30 most attractive in the world. According to statistics from the Domestic Markets Department under the Ministry of Industry and Trade, Vietnam has almost 9,000 traditional markets, 800 supermarkets, 168 shopping malls, and more than 1 million household-run grocery stores. The Vietnamese retail market has always been an attractive destination for foreign investors. Meanwhile, domestic retailers also made great efforts to gain market shares in fierce competition. many businesses have improved their competitiveness, expanded their networks, and developed various online retail channels. On Monday, the very first customers who placed orders for the car model VinFast Fadil received their products. Customers will be given information related to VinFast support services, driving instructions and warranties. A standard VinFast Fadil car costs more than $15,300 excluding VAT. The car has a 1.4-liter engine, automatic gears, and many advanced safety features, including 6 airbags and electronic brakes. VinFast cars have also been delivered to customers in the northern and central regions. We have just reviewed the economic highlights over the past week. Up next in our crosstalk, we'll talk about the future prospect of eco-industrial parks in Vietnam. As developing and emerging economies seek to increase industrial output, there is also a pressing need to decouple economic growth from resource consumption. In this context, the transformation of conventional industrial parks into eco-industrial parks, or EIP, presents an effective opportunity to attain inclusive and sustainable industrial development. As one of the countries selected by UNIDO, or United Nations Industrial Development Organization, for the EIP pilot projects, Vietnam has achieved impressive results, bringing economic, environmental, and social benefits for enterprises and the community as well. Now that the first phase of the project in Vietnam, which started in 2014, has recently been concluded, in this episode of BIZLINE, we'll take a look at what has been done and future directions for EIP model.
Lowering emissions, installing pollution reduction equipment, recycling waste, and applying cleaner production technologies have long been the goals of many enterprises who want to pursue sustainable development. However, in Eco-Industrial Park, or EIP, sustainable development climbs to a higher level. The general idea of EIP is to create a network of collaborating companies that function as an ecosystem through the recovery of resource and manufacturing waste through symbiotic relationships. Companies seek to improve their management of environmental and resource issues, including energy, water, and materials. The energy and materials produced by one industry can be absorbed by another industry or business. Realizing the need to build EIP as the next model for industrial park, UNIDO, or United Nations Industrial Development Organization, implemented EIP pilot projects in 7 countries since 2012, including Vietnam. After over 4 years, the first phase of the project brought impressive results to 4 industrial parks in Vietnam.
And we invited to our studio today Mr. Heinz Leuenberger, Chief Technical Advisor of the EIP initiative that has just gone through phase 1 in 4 industrial parks, to know more about how Eco-Industrial Park model was applied in Vietnam. First of all, thank you very much for joining our program today.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
So the first question is, there may be different approaches to eco-industrial parks or EIP model in the world, given different contexts, definitions, and classifications. So what is the appropriate approach for Vietnam?
In very simple words, first of all, we have to make existing industrial parks much more environmentally friendly. We have to make them more economically competitive. And of course, we also have to make sure that they fulfill social welfare standards. So they should do more with less input. So to do more products with less energy, less material, less water consumption. And in a second step, we will increase the resource efficiency of the park as a whole. So we try to make sure that there is, for example, waste heat, or there are waste materials which can still be used by another company as a raw material, or the heat can be used from another company, so then the companies can exchange these waste materials or waste heat or energy on park level.
What kind of benefits can eco-industrial park bring to enterprises, especially in terms of economic benefits?
Well, we have tested the concept now in 3 industrial parks. One is in Cần Thơ, one is in Da Nang, and one is in Ninh Bình. And there we have seen that on the company level, we have achieved very impressive results. So companies have still a huge potential to increase their resource efficiency in the production. But we also have seen that there are a lot of activities where companies can make use of some of the waste material or waste heat from another company. And we also have studied that the potential, for example, for solar voltaic energy, renewable energy production on the roofs on these factories in an industrial park is huge and is economically feasible, and it makes business a good, very good business sense. So, for example, if there is a glass factory which has a lot of waste heat, they need to destroy it with cooler. Instead of destroying it via coolers, they can make use of the heat and produce steam, which can be used next door by a textile company instead of having their own boiler and using their own oil or coal. So it makes business sense for the glass factory, and it makes a lot of sense for the textile company, so it would be a win-win situation for both. Mm-hmm. But there we need to have park managements who can see these opportunities. They are more active to look for such opportunities and help companies like a mediator to introduce such measures. Mm-hmm. What is also needed from the park management that they are starting much more initiating the cooperation and collaboration between the tenants.
540 tons of carbon monoxide reduced per year, 360 tons of input materials reduced per year, 1,000 kilowatt hours reduced per year, and over $112,000 saved per year. These impressive numbers were achieved by only one among 72 enterprises that participated in the project Implementation of Eco-Industrial Park Initiative for Sustainable Industrial Zone in Vietnam, which started in 2014. The project not only brought practical economic benefits to enterprises in EIP, but also actualized the strategies of efficient, cleaner production, which many enterprises nurtured for a long time.
Mình cũng muốn là áp dụng những tiến bộ khoa học kỹ thuật, những cái chương trình mà làm đảm bảo về nâng cao cái hiệu suất công việc, hiệu quả trong công việc, tiết kiệm năng lượng và về môi trường. Nhưng mà chúng tôi chưa tập trung vào được một cái gì cụ thể. Nhưng mà khi có dự án đến, đã giúp chúng tôi là tập trung cao để mà áp dụng tất cả những cái gì mà các tư vấn đem đến cho chúng tôi.
Một số giải pháp đó là như là bọc lại cái bảo ôn cho cái máy giấy, hoặc là hạ lại cái chiều cao cho các máy sấy để cho cái lượng khí thải nó thoát ra ngoài ít hơn và cái lượng điện năng mình tiêu thụ nó sẽ thấp hơn, và đi lại tất cả các hệ thống đường nước để cho sao cho nó chống rò rỉ. Mặc dù tiết kiệm, mặc dù cái chi phí mình đầu tư ra ban đầu nó có thể nó lớn, nhưng về lâu về dài thì chúng ta sẽ tiết kiệm được cái phần này rất là nhiều. Có thể thu hồi vốn trong vòng khoảng 1-2 năm mà thôi.
Beyond environmentally friendly programs for individual enterprises, the EIP model offers industrial symbiosis, which means enterprises in the same park can share resources and reuse each other's waste.
Qua cái việc thực hiện cái dự án khu công nghiệp sinh thái tại Cần Thơ, thì các khu công nghiệp Cần Thơ cũng phát hiện ra nhiều cái mô hình cộng sinh công nghiệp. Thí dụ như tại Cần Thơ thì hiện nay có công ty phân bón hóa chất Cần Thơ, họ đang có một cái nồi lò hơi để sử dụng trong hoạt động sản xuất của họ, thì họ sử dụng không hết cái hơi đó, họ có thể bán, chia sẻ lại cho doanh nghiệp cận bên.
Though EIP is meant to achieve economic, social and environmental benefits for the long term, the initial stage of EIP project in Vietnam proved that success can come very quickly and ensures future benefits for all stakeholders. This is also in line with Vietnam's commitment to high quality growth at the same time with high growth rate.
Các cái doanh nghiệp khi triển khai tham gia dự án cũng đã có kết quả hết sức tích cực. Ví dụ như là các doanh nghiệp đã tiết kiệm hàng năm 76 tỷ hàng năm, mà đây là chỉ có 72 doanh nghiệp thôi trong 4 cái khu công nghiệp tham gia thí điểm. Đồng thời chúng ta cũng giảm được tiêu thụ là 600.000 mét khối nước, giảm tiêu thụ 22.000 kWh điện, rồi là 3.000 tấn hóa chất. Đây là những cái kết quả rất là cụ thể. Và các kết quả này nó đóng góp vào cái việc thực hiện cái mục tiêu tăng trưởng xanh của chúng ta và cái mục tiêu phát triển bền vững cũng như là chiến lược phát triển kinh tế xã hội 10 năm 2010-2020.
So, what is your assessment of the initial results of the EIP model first phase project in Vietnam?
Well, to be very open, we are very happy with the results because on the company level, we have really proved that resource efficiency and cleaner production, how the real term is, makes a lot of business sense and makes a lot of sense also for the environment. So on the company level, we have very impressive results. We have on the park management, we have also found quite a few of these industrial symbiosis activities. So companies share the waste or use the waste from another company or the waste heat. So we have seen there are quite a lot of opportunities, and some of these opportunities are already implemented. So we can prove that also this idea concept works.
How can we strengthen the industrial symbiosis in industrial parks?
I think there is the park management has a very important role to play because companies do not talk to each other and definitely do not exchange such knowledge about, how much waste do they have or how much waste heat they produce. So I think the park management should, in a way, initiate this cooperation and collaboration between the tenants by, for example, inviting them on a regular basis for some maybe presentations or information seminar or on new topics which are maybe interesting for many of these tenants.
One of the most notable contributions to the EIP project in Vietnam is the issuance of Decree 82. It includes the definitions of an EIP and industrial symbiosis and regulations for the development of EIP. Decree 82 came shortly after UNIDO's EIP project was initiated in Vietnam.
Chúng tôi đánh giá rất là cao cái kết quả hoạt động của dự án tại Việt Nam. Cái kết quả mà đáng được nêu lên nhất đó chính là cái sự ra đời của Nghị định 82. Lần đầu tiên đã thể chế hóa được cái sự phát triển về khu công nghiệp sinh thái tại Việt Nam. Thì đây sẽ là một cái tiền đề rất là quan trọng cho việc là chuyển hóa hơn 300 khu công nghiệp sinh thái tại Việt Nam.
Decree 82 not only defines EIP in Vietnam but also encourages EIP transformation by giving incentives. Accordingly, investment projects on the construction of wastewater and garbage disposal facilities in industrial zones will be entitled to a preferential loan, with the maximum lending amount for each project equal to 70% of the investment capital.
Nghị định 82 chúng ta có các cái điều luật rất là cụ thể, trong đó có nêu rất là rõ là ví dụ chẳng hạn như là các doanh nghiệp, các khu nghiệp mà chuyển đổi sang khu mô hình sinh thái thì được có những các cái ưu đãi về tiếp cận các cái nguồn vốn cũng như là các cái chính sách ưu đãi khác của nhà nước. Thì tuy nhiên thì trong các cái nghị định đó thì còn chưa cụ thể ra thành trong các cái thông tư, các cái hướng dẫn. Chính vì điều đó cho nên là hiện nay các doanh nghiệp thực hiện còn đang rất là vướng mắc. Thì theo kinh nghiệm đối với những cái đơn vị tư vấn thì chúng tôi cũng rất là mong muốn là chính phủ có những các cái hướng dẫn rất là cụ thể.
The Ministry of Planning and Investment is working with relevant agencies and organizations to improve the framework for EIP in Vietnam, even during the implementation of Phase 1. Criteria for EIP will be built beyond the basic requirements mentioned in Decree 82.
Để xếp hạng các cái khu công nghiệp đạt ở mức là khu công nghiệp sinh thái ở mức đồng hay bạc hay vàng thì cần có các cái chỉ số đòi hỏi ở mức độ cao hơn. Thì trong nghiên cứu của chúng tôi có cái bộ chỉ số, trong đó có cái chỉ số cấp doanh nghiệp, một số chỉ số thì mang tính định tính, một số chỉ số mang tính định lượng và một số các cái chỉ số thì dành riêng cho khu công nghiệp.
So, what requirements in terms of policy needed for EIP model to be implemented?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I think the government of Vietnam already now issued and approved the Decree 82, which is in a way regulating the industrial park, and added the term and also the issue of eco-industrial parks to these new regulations. So this is the baseline, the policy framework, the baseline for to introduce eco-industrial parks in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But for to do it now, in reality, we need to have guidelines. We need to have circulars. And so these circulars need to be issued, formulated and issued by the different line ministries, like MONRE, MOST, MAMOIT. Because in some cases there are in the law in Vietnam at the moment barriers which in a way prevent the, in a way, scaling up of the implementation of eco-industrial parks in Vietnam. So parks do not know exactly what to do, and they have some laws which prevent them to do it. So this needs to be deleted. Yeah. So they need to go on. And this means now we need to have these circulars. Without these circulars, in a way, the implementation will not work.
Do you think there needs to be a more encouraging policy or even a compulsory mechanism for EIP model implementation in Vietnam?
I think at the beginning it will be a voluntary activity. I think, the really active and smart industrial park authorities will see the benefit of such a concept and they will go for it without having, but we need to have the policy and legal framework so companies can do it. What we also noticed, for example, foreign invested industrial parks, they are very, very keen to know the framework, to know the conditions and to know the standards for such eco-industrial park because they want to go into this direction.
About 4 tons of plastic waste that is collected from 1 million plastic bags in Hai Phong City will be used to build the first ever made plastic waste asphalt road in Vietnam, expected to be complete in Q3 this year. It is said to be more durable than normal asphalt roads. This is an initiative of Deep Sea Industrial Park, one of the parks that pursue the eco-friendly mode even before UNIDO's project started in Vietnam.
When we heard about the Eco Park initiative, phase 1 was already actually done. We couldn't be part of it anymore. And we are very happy that we are being considered now to be a pioneer for phase 2. Because for us, it is actually a challenge to prove you can be both sustainable and profitable.
Not only the road made from plastic waste, Deep Sea Industrial Park also hopes to generate electricity and water from processing waste. For enterprises who were lucky enough to participate in phase 1 of the EIP project in Vietnam, they are actively planning for the next phase and will make further private investment as they realize the economic benefits in the long term.
Tiếp đến, nhưng mà trong cái giai đoạn mới là chúng tôi đã lập xong cái dự án về sử dụng năng lượng tái sinh và năng lượng mặt trời. Cái dự án này thì chúng tôi lập cái dự toán là khoảng 19 tỷ, 7 tỷ là chúng tôi tự cấp.
The government will also facilitate enterprises' willingness to go greener and be more efficient in the second phase of the project.
Giai đoạn 2 thì chúng tôi muốn triển khai sâu hơn, đi vào hỗ trợ sâu hơn các doanh nghiệp. Cụ thể là chúng ta thúc đẩy các doanh nghiệp tự đầu tư, tham gia các doanh nghiệp tư nhân tự bỏ tiền ra để họ thực hiện các cái giải pháp sản xuất sạch hơn và thực hiện năng lượng hiệu quả hơn. Đặc biệt cái thứ hai là chúng tôi sẽ thúc đẩy cái việc hợp tác của các cái doanh nghiệp trong cái lĩnh vực thực hiện cộng sinh công nghiệp.
With such benefits and advantages that you have just mentioned about the EIP model, how do Vietnamese enterprises in industrial parks become involved in EIP model? Where should they start and how do they do that?
I think the best way to start their activities is, first of all, they can of course improve the resource efficiency in their own production line. And for this, I think there is an excellent institution here in Vietnam, the so-called Vietnam Cleaner Production Center, which can advise and help consult companies how to do it, how to really make more use of the existing resources in a company. So that's in a way the homework every company can do. But if a company is interested to be located in an eco-industrial park, and their park at the moment has no movement into this direction, I think it would be time to talk to the park authority or talk to the park management and express their wish to go in this direction, but also seek maybe the opinion of some other tenants. So if there are more companies are willing to go in this direction, I'm very sure that park management or park authorities cannot stop it. So they will also try start to go into this direction.
Is there any successful model already implemented in countries that have similar geographical and other elements like Vietnam, neighboring countries, maybe some in Southeast Asia?
No, to be very honest, no. Because I mean, there are many countries in developing countries at the moment working on the concept, but there is not one eco-industrial park already existing which works fine. Mm-hmm. There is one in Denmark, for example, Kalundborg, which is one of the nicest models at the moment. And there are a few in Western countries, but not in developing countries. I think Vietnam is, with this project, had the opportunity to be quite advanced. Mm. So I think maybe some other countries can learn from Vietnam, because I think if we continue with the speed we had in the last years, I think the first real eco-industrial park could be established in Vietnam.
Once again, thank you very much for joining our program today.
Thank you very much.
Over the last 30 years, Vietnam is regarded as one of the fastest growing economies in the region and in the world, and industrialization has been and remains one of the key driving forces for these achievements. However, like many other developing economies, Vietnam is facing major challenges in ensuring high-quality, sustainable growth and development. The project on Eco-Industrial Park, or EIP, development came at the very right time to help the government and businesses address some of their key challenges. The past 4 years of the project has seen effective regulatory framework for EIP, new business models to attract quality investment in technologies and solutions, and saved a lot of money for enterprises and at the same time reduced discharge in the environment. And we will keep you updated on future achievements of EIP in Vietnam in future episodes of BIZLINE. And that has just wrapped up this edition of BIZLINE. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can log on to our website at vtv4.vtv.vn or download the VTV Go app and tune in VTV4. Goodbye for now.